University. It's supposed to be this amazing time, right? Freedom, new friends, the start of your real life. But what happens when all that pressure starts to feel like it's crushing the promise? In this explainer, we're going to dig into the mental health challenges on campus and, more importantly, explore the tools to not just survive, but actually thrive.
Just picture this for a second. A professor is looking out at a lecture hall packed with new students. They're all bright-eyed, excited. You can feel that eager beaver anticipation in the air. But this professor felt this sense of dread, because he knew that for so many of them, the journey ahead would slowly chip away at that initial joy. It's a really heartbreaking and honestly an all-too common reality of the university experience.
And that right there, that's the heart of what we're calling the university paradox. On one side, you've got the dream, the glossy brochures, the vibrant campus life. And on the other, you've got the reality, this gauntlet of pressures that can twist that excitement into anxiety and sometimes just pure exhaustion.
Now, to be super clear, we're not just talking about a few students feeling the university blues. This is a full-blown systemic crisis. So let's zoom out a bit and look at some of the hard numbers, just to get a sense of the real scale of this thing.
And let's be crystal clear about what's at stake here. This is so much more than just feeling stressed out. We are talking about a leading cause of disability that can completely sabotage a student's education. It leads to people dropping out, it derails entire careers before they even get a chance to begin.
And then the most tragic cases, the cost is just devastating. I want you to just sit with this number for a second. 90%. 90% of students who died by suicide had a diagnosable mental illness. That is a statistic we just cannot afford to look away from.
So check this out. This data comes from a 13-year study at just one single university, and it tells a pretty shocking story. The number of students who needed help for depression, it doubled. And even scarier, the number of suicidal students, it tripled. This isn't just a slow creep, folks. This is an explosion.
But here's what's maybe even more worrying: the silence behind the numbers. For every 10 students suffering from depression, only 3 actually get help. That means a staggering 70% are fighting this battle completely alone, hiding it behind a brave face because of stigma or fear or just a system that's totally overwhelmed.
Okay, so why? What is causing this massive surge? What are all these different pressures that are pushing students right to the breaking point? Let's dive in and really diagnose the sources of all this strain.
It's honestly like a perfect storm of pressure. You've got the intense need to succeed academically, right? Then you pile on the crushing weight of student loans and financial debt. You're trying to build a whole new social life from scratch, and for many, it's the first time they've ever lived away from home. And then, on top of all that, some students even face abuse and mistreatment from within the university system itself.
Just think about what a student is today. They're not just a student, are they? So often, they're also an employee, working a job to pay tuition. Maybe they're a parent, a partner, a caregiver for a family member. Every single one of those roles pulls on their time and energy, and life becomes this incredibly difficult, precarious balancing act. And when all that pressure just keeps building and building, it can lead to something called traumatic de-idealization. I know, it's a very clinical-sounding term, but what it describes is just heartbreaking. It's when all the cynicism, the pressure, the mistreatment, it just crushes a student's love for their subject. The very thing they were passionate about becomes a source of pain. Okay, that was a lot. It's a heavy topic, I get it. But we are not here to just talk about the problem, we're here to talk about solutions. So let's make a pivot. What can we actually do? This next part is all about building up your own personal toolkit for well-being.
First things first, let's clear up what getting help even means, because there's a huge difference between advising and counseling. Think of it this way. An academic advisor gives you answers. They'll tell you, take this class, fill out that form. A counselor, on the other hand, helps you find your own answers. It's all about empowering you, not just telling you what to do.
One of the most powerful things any of us can do for each other is just learn how to really truly listen. And this is a super simple but really effective way to remember how. It's called the Lover Method. It's just an acronym for all these small physical things like leaning forward, having an open posture, making eye contact that send a clear message. Hey, I'm here, I'm with you, I'm really listening. Here's another skill that is an absolute game changer: paraphrasing. And this is way more than just, repeating what someone said back to them. It's about really hearing their core message and then saying it back in your own words to make sure you got it right. So instead of just nodding along, you might say something like, okay, so what I'm hearing is that you're feeling totally overwhelmed because of this deadline and you feel like you have no support. Is that right? Just asking, is that right, can make a world of difference. And of course, we can't skip the basics. It's so easy to forget, but all these other tools, they work best when they're built on a solid foundation of self-care. We're talking about good sleep, a decent diet, and getting some physical activity. This isn't a luxury, you guys. It is absolutely essential for your mental well-being.
But let's be real. Personal resilience can only get you so far if you're stuck in a really stressful system. The universities themselves have a massive role to play here. So let's zoom back out and talk about what it takes for them to build a real campus safety net.
You know, the best way to do this is to weave support into every single part of the student journey. It has to start before they even arrive on campus, with universities being upfront about their commitment to mental health. Then, from day one, things like mentoring programs and welcoming activities are huge. And of course, throughout their studies, having easy-to-access counseling and peer support is critical. This all needs to be part of a formal, university-wide policy that covers everyone.
So how do you actually build that kind of supportive culture? Well, it comes down to a few key actions. You run awareness campaigns with one clear goal: to eliminate stigma. You train up both staff and students so they feel more confident having these tough conversations. And you create super clear pathways to get help, so nobody is ever left wondering, where do I even go?
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. The whole point of all these efforts is to cause a fundamental culture shift, to build a community where putting your hand up and asking for help isn't just okay, it's seen for what it actually is, a sign of incredible strength.
And that really leaves us with this one big, important question. This can't be a choice, right? We shouldn't have to choose between our ambitions and our well-being. So how can we build universities that truly foster both? How do we create environments that push us to be our absolute best, but also protect and support our mental health along the way? That's really the challenge for all of us, students, faculty, everyone, to figure out.